Hello everyone, it's Ben here from Second Dynasty. I believe I should be live now, hopefully. Let me know in the chat if you're getting audio.
I got audio.
Okay. Thank you, Albin. Albin has confirmed that things are working. Say hello in the chat. Awesome, just refreshing the chat here. We're going to talk about what we might do today in just a little bit, but I just thought I'd say g'day. Already got a few viewers here at the moment, so I'm guessing we'll have a few more people streaming in soon. It is March 14th, 2025. Whose cake day is it? Well, happy Pie Day.
Oh.
What? Is this like... Oh, 3:14. Jesus Christ.
That's like...
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 3:14. Yeah, except outside of America, we tend to, put day, month, year, or year, month, day. So I guess it technically works in Sweden, but let's see, American dates. At least you can't make mistakes with 14.3 or 3.14. Easy enough to figure out that there's not 14 months in the year, so let's see. Get out of here with your 14.3. Well, that would make for a very different kind of circle. Anyway, hi, it's I love how that's how the chat woke up. It's like the chat starts out very quiet. It's just Solo Spirit and Trevor. Shergel pops up, and then all of a sudden, with Blasted as well. And then it's like, pie. G'day in the chat. Hey, Solo Spirit, Trevor, Shergel, Blasted. Tamsin is here, Brian is here, John is here, and of course Albin, who you can hear in the background. We've got Grana Priego, probably mispronouncing that. Good afternoon from you from Vanished Sweden. And yeah, Brian, Sam is here. I think that's all for the roll call of people that have been active in the chat in any case. So this was very much a case of, what am I going to stream? And now I'm really worried that why have I got 3 copies of Maya open? That's not good. That's tempting fate.
Yes.
I will talk about that little thing that you saw just in a sec. But I wanted to start out by thanking everyone. If you have been backing the Aesir fleet campaign, we're so close to 2 new stretch goals. The first being at 400,000 crowns, which we're about $450 from. We will be unlocking the Ratatosk module, which is the Ratatosk is this ship here. So I've just got it listed as Ratatosk pouch here, and this is a module that will attach to the front of the ship, primarily like for cargo or living area. You'll be able to customize it a little bit, maybe even how big the module is. Of course, we need to be a little careful that we don't tilt the ship over. But yeah, that is next up. And then the other thing that is coming very soon at 250 backers, let me double check this. Let's go to the section called Stretch Goals and Achievements, which never works first go for some reason. 4th time's the charm. So, that's at 400k, and at 250 backers we finally unlocked the PDC variants, where there's at least 3 new weapon styles. So yeah, let's see. I still say having 1 copy of Maya is not good. Yeah. Tempting fate, at least. After I got my metric clock, I was always late for work. God. The dad jokes have started. Let's see. Brian said he had a co-worker who used to open multiple instances of AutoCAD and then complaining that his computer was too slow. I mean, it's more about it shares the GPU and CPU resources, so if you have too many copies open, it usually Maya itself, you could have 3 copies open. The problem is you couldn't have 3 copies open and render. You can have 3 copies open and then anything of Adobe. Like even if maybe you had Bridge open, it would steal memory. Because Adobe's a memory hoe. I'm doing an Albin. What? You're hearing my system sounds or something?
Oh no, I'm not sure. I did some renders. Is that what you're hearing?
I don't know what Tamsin's referring to. The video I'm back again was like, jeez, I swear you guys, like you got me to launch the campaign too early because I need to start ignoring people. Yeah, at the top of the page, the stream will start here. So if I refresh this, it should be showing our stream now. And yeah, you want to make sure that's on quiet if you're watching on YouTube. So that should be up for the next hour. So we're doubling up. There is links to the campaign in the description. But of course, Aesir Fleet adds 5 new ships, a complete overhaul of the Sleipnir, an official Fenrir gunship, and when we were sort of like, then of course 3 new ships, the Nidhogg, the Ratatosk, and the Valkyria. This week I did a kind of cool little video. I'm just going to see if I can find it real quick. Let's see, we want to go up to... it should be in here under videos, and it should be middle. No, this is different sections. Let's see. Let's sort this by date. Mid-campaign video. There we go. If I play this one, I don't think you'll get the audio, and the audio is not necessary. But this is an assembly video of the Sleipnir, Valkyria shuttle. I stole Albin's build and finished it on Monday, or was it Tuesday? Tuesday, I guess. And put this all together throughout the day, just to give you guys an impression of how easy it is to put together, how good it looks, and
I have
yeah.
to say, it made me happy to see it.
Did it?
Yes.
Nice. So let's just put that on one more time there. Of course, we had 3 printers going at once. I didn't do any cleanup either. There were some issues with parts of this, but to the layperson, you might not notice it when it's going by so quick. Of course, John just examined every single frame of this thing. I'm sure Albin got sent a long list.
It wasn't. He's been.
It wasn't that long as what you were about to say, right?
Yeah.
So, but what I thought we might work with today is like if we go back here and look at our stretch goals again, eventually arriving at the bottom, you'll note that there's something for the Valkyria, there's something for the Ratatosk, but we don't have anything for the Nidhogg yet, which would make something new for all 3 ships. Now, they're technically somewhat compatible with each other because the designs are quite modular. There are certainly areas of each ship where you could interchange decks if you wanted to. So if you own all 5 ships, you could make a Frankenstein version. Technically, you could also widen the ship just using existing tiles. It just requires a little bit of discipline and probably a bit of forethought and planning. The RCS thruster right outside the airlock is a good way to get the boot off annoying crewmates. Just get them to spacewalk and engage your RCS and the problem blows away. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, I'm not sure docking is meant to... it's a good point. I think the thing is you're meant to use the extenders to get past it. But that is a good point. It will get in the way, and it is a good way to... It's like an anti-boarding function, right? And speaking of boarding, Albin has been working on something. I don't think I have a scene ready to go. I didn't ask for one, but the good old, standard crate. It's not quite a standard crate. It's an oversized crate, but integrated with that has been like we got a little bit naughty. So we're thinking of adding an additional add-on. I've actually been working on add-ons in the last few hours. Let me see, products and pledges. So I've just been making graphics for like for the 270 and tactical minis. I wish I could make this mirrored, but it's a bit annoying. We have the newly added spacesuit stowed miniatures, which is this scene I have open here. So we got these back yesterday. I have rendered them, and it's kind of hard to tell, but there is actually some geometry inside here as well. These are compatible with, I think I made a render here somewhere. Maybe it's in here. Where did it go? Oh no. Actually, now that I think about it, it should be in my stretch goals here. So I made this render. So these are designed to fit into the standard suit lockers from the the Aesir Fleet series. So the miniatures are sized for that, and these are much, much closer to my original intended design for these. Now, we have asked Eximus, the talented sculptor, to create a version where we've got many of the original files so that we can customize this, and we're going to look into being able to make custom miniatures for our existing crew in the suits. To be fair, it's probably something that I'm not going to promise, because backer kit works a little bit different than Kickstarter, and it would have been a higher tier sort of stretch goal or add-on. I don't know if we have the resources to commit to it or not. Things are kind of up in the air here at Second Dynasty at the moment as to what the rest of our year is going to look like. It kind of depends on a meeting I'm having next week. It depends on, I still need to have a meeting with Mongoose as well to talk to them about continued licensing, because technically our license expires at the end of this year. And also I'd like to get Persephone done, but it all depends. And since Albin's going to be part-time on a different project, it might affect what we can get out. My whole point here is when you start a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding campaign, it's always amazing to get funded. That is wonderful, and we have started increasing our funding requirements to the level of where we can at least cover our production costs. But then, each stretch goal we put out, obviously, let's just say it takes 25% of the time to get a concept render out, and another 75% of the time to get that into a finished product with downloadable STL files that are fully printable, right? So we have to be careful about what we promise so we don't get too bogged down with the rest of the year. So all of the stretch goals we're trying to put out have pretty quick turnover. And these spacesuits, the 4 of these poses have been added just as an add-on, so that they'll be included with the all-in pledge and increase the quality value, the value of the deal for the end of the campaign. Because basically, when you have a crowdfunding campaign, you get a huge lump sum up in the first day or two, provided that you've done enough marketing, like making people aware of the campaign. Then you have a certain amount of people that back during the length of the campaign, and then another large sum towards the end of the campaign. Backer Kit have said that their model tends to generate 1/3 at the front, 1/3 in the middle, and 1/3 at the end. So there could be yet a few stretch goals we unlock. But maybe we'll only realistically unlock 1 or 2 more. So I'd really like to do something for Nidhogg, just so each ship gets something that is a little unique. Technically, it should be fairly cross-compatible. Now, the idea I was having is Nidhogg is a large ship. Obviously, it's the largest of all of them. So we've got an autosave going on. How typical. And one of the issues with this... well, it's not an issue, but aesthetically, the ship looks a little bare on this side. And I was originally thinking of making this like a bit more asymmetrical. But we have these sort of 3 tiles here to work with. And what I was thinking of is, what if we had an asymmetric railgun emplacement in this area? And I thought we could work on that today, which is why I sort of took a photo of the ship real quick, because this was very last minute. And it's maybe a little bit more interesting, because I felt like last week we worked on engineering and that. By the way, here is the new fusion core that will probably be one of the final stretch goals. I'm just trying to figure out how we can get like a plasma feeder to the different engines here. I'm kind of thinking of some kind of like spinning system in this sort of like cylinder. We might make it a bit wider. Yeah, but a lot more detail and a little bit scarier too, if you ask me, this thing. It is designed so that we could have different connectors here. Each one of these connectors actually just uses a supporting clip to connect in, which is how we can get this odd shape without supports. And this will print in 2 halves. So, yeah, that's the main thing, and the top of this should poke up into the next deck. This is the old style one. It's hollow because we used to have lighting kits in there. We're no longer openly supporting those. It would require a bit more of a custom solution. So yeah, that's sort of the direction we're going in. And I would reduce... I'm not entirely sure. Like the idea, a lot of fusion models that I've seen fire off lasers. So essentially the way that an expanse style reactor works is they have like a spherical reactor core. From the top, they fire a pellet of fusel material. A bunch of lasers shoot at it, and that causes a fusion reactor. And the reaction is then forced out the back as thrust. So we're trying to sort of simulate that with this kind of configuration. I actually used a soccer ball as the basis for this thing. You can kind of see they're not quite like these hexes are a little bit larger than these. Well, actually, it's a combination of hexes and I was going to say polygons. What's a 5-sided figure? Pentagons.
Or is it pentagram? Is that the star?
Pentagram is the star. Pentagon is kind of easy to remember due to the, military headquarters of the United States. Yep. The very non-partisan military, right? Anyway, I just thought I'd show that off real quick. I can already feel my it's like we've had snow, and the snow's been great because it has caused all the pollen to hit the ground, and now the snow is melting and it feels like the pollen is coming out again, and I don't know how it finds its way in everywhere. It's like an invisible enemy. Something is going on in any case, and I'm highly allergic to it. So part of this week I've been down, my wife's been away, and I've been at home with the dog, which doesn't let me work as much. And also there was a kickoff for Albin with the film production. So it's been a quieter week. We haven't got as much done, but actually looking back at it, we've actually done quite a bit. Just hold my breath, yeah. I'll hold my breath for like 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first thing to do with this emplacement is figure out where we want it. So the Fenrir has a spinal mounted one, and one of the reasons it's spinal mounted is because the ship itself can act as counterballast to that. In the Expanse, if we're using that as an inspiration and reference, technically these PDCs are a little bit wrong because there should be actually a thrusters on the back of the PDCs to counter the fact that firing off rounds of ammunition actually is a propellant in zero gravity. So they sort of have counterbalancing thrusters. One of the reasons why you would maybe not put a railgun on a turret would be because of the immense force that would enact on the ship. So one of the things we're going to have to do with the emplacement is I'd probably still use a standard turret port, but I think much like the Valkyria weapon emplacements, maybe you just have it rotating in one direction, and then the ship itself ends up being, the azimuth for the turret. So you would just use maneuvering thrusters to sort of like get it semi-aligned, and we would need some like reinforced structure, which is why I'm thinking we have something that actually spans 3 decks, and then creates a bit of support. But this is the room we've got to work with. So maybe it'll be this deck and this deck, I'm not sure. And then we want to grab these starting models. So let's just grab them first and start ripping out only what we need. So I just want the gun, and I probably want to create some thrusters on the backside just to offset that. Could make a special larger torpedo bay since that's supposed to be in the torp shit. You could do that. I do have some weapon ideas for the torpedo bay for a stretch goal. And one is like, okay, so far we've been quite focused on making this more like Expanse type, but what if you wanted these ships to be more appealing for different universes? And we recently watched Macross, the 84 movie, and I was just like, why don't we turn these PDC housings and a torpedo thing into like an Atano missile circus? So you just open this up and there's a bunch of missiles that can fire out. So, I mean, we could do a version where it could mount onto one of those, actually. It's not the worst idea. I wonder what it would take to mount this. It needs 4 decks, though, doesn't it? 1, yeah. Said transforming spaceship when? Yeah. I have designed a hell of a lot of variable fighters in my day. But the thing with them is they're a lot of work. Like, a lot of work. I can hear that Albin is rendering. Are you thinking maybe we can just show a render to show what you've been up to?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that. So let's just get some of this geometry cleared. Drop the bottom off. Get this off. So take off these connectors. Just so we can get the basic shape of the gun. Oh man, my throat is scratchy today. Let's see. It's gonna be a busy year, I think. Just have this feeling. Oh no, that was way too much. Because we're still connected there. Let's let's ditch these polygons. There we go. Alright, so we've got the gun here pulled out. So this is approximately what we want to mount. I'm pretty sure we have some older stretch goals, because this is all built on top of the original Sleipnir production files. That's how I redid the entire Sleipnir into the Sleipnir refit. And yeah, I just they look like a lot of work. Oh, to transform variable fighters, yeah, definitely. And I don't know, it might be my dream one day to put one out like on tribes. That would be cool. The other thing too with variable fighters is they're actually quite flimsy, because they usually have unrealistic surface areas. It might be cool to do like a destroid. Anyway, let's see, we used to have a stretch goal for turret compatibility. So let's see, here we go. So this nets us our turret rings, and maybe we even have an old school, yeah, some turrets here. We don't have a ring, but some of this geometry could be reusable. So I'm going to... This one's integrated like so. I think we're just going to grab one of these shapes and bring it over just to see what it's going to look like. But like I said, I think you want to have a mounting that sort of extends it out from the hull a bit for two different reasons. One is just to make sure that it can actually clear most of the ship. So for example, these PDCs stick out pretty far. Do we really want to make that turret so that, you know, it can't face forward? I think that might be quite hard to achieve just because of the shape, but it all depends. And this is kind of my opportunity too. Like, I originally wanted to make this a little bit on... Let's see, I just want to get my grid. Let's see, the grid down to 4. And let's align this with where I think we want to set it, and then we need to get a decent idea. Let's move that over. Do these? No, they don't. Okay, let's just cancel that, and we'll move their pivot points together to the same. Let's move the center point to here. Oops, there. And then align it to the middle. It should be about there. So if now we move it on our grid, we end up with it about here. So technically we're almost at the size where I'd want to put a weapon of this size mounted not on a standard turret, but maybe the larger kind of, like what we call a barbette in our catalogue. But you want this to sort of be able to clear the PDC, and at the moment, like it would feel quite like a close shave. Let's get into the top down here. So you'd want this to be about there. Assuming, yeah, that is in parallel. So we need some kind of structure to make this stick out. So the ideal solution would be to have something coming out here to support this. And then, yeah, we want some thrusters on the back of this thing and a connector to the rest of the turret. So usually what I want to be doing is just... Will the drone room receive an update to max mouse hours? The drone room, we were just actually discussing this like an hour or so ago, Albin and I. The interior has not been updated because it's a stretch goal, so technically it's still compatible with Sleipnir and Fenrir, and I think you could certainly use the parts because it's quite modular. I don't know if we have it here somewhere. Extra drone level there. So if I just select these objects, we can look at it. So this also kind of is a good illustration of the difference between the old and the new styles. So these panels would be integrated into the wall now, not like a drop-in. These control panels, oh, I forgot we had those. We could probably update those so that they fit into the walls as well, like our new style ones. So most of these parts actually will be fairly compatible. It just is one of those things where it would have been a later stretch goal, and I just don't think the campaign has the momentum for it. Why not have the railgun at an angle in line with the shorter sides of the ship? Not quite sure what you mean, Alex. Like it would be, I think with the railgun it becomes a bit of a target. So having it slightly up from the ship is good. The other thing too is behind this wall is our cargo bay, and I think, our crew quarters. So we want to make just a little bit of distance between, I guess it's not explosive ammunition, but we need what does the railgun comprise of? It's probably, it's throwing solid tungsten rods or depleted uranium or something at an enemy ship at very, very high velocity. It needs something to charge the batteries. If we use the Expanse as a sort of inspiration, it should have its own power generation and that. So I assume we want like a 2x2x2 box here that would house ammunition stocks, batteries, etc. And then on top of that, we have just some supporting structure, which is what I was going for. So yeah, what I was saying about the drones is that I would have loved to do that. I just don't think we're going to get enough in, because if we look at the stretch goals, yes, we need to make some more stretch goals for like what comes after 400,000. Realistically, if by, with 6 days left, we're sitting at 250 backers roughly, and just under 400,000 crowns, we're not likely to hit more than, say, 500,000 or 300 backers, which we've got fairly covered. So, and then there's also the question of how much work does it take. The drone room, updating it wouldn't take that much, but does it add enough value for people to redo something that already exists for a number of backers? I want to add something new, like new types of drones, or an alternative launch system, and it's just one of those things where it actually is quite complicated to design. So I think, had the campaign had the chances of hitting 700,000 or 800,000, yeah, sure, we would have room for that. It really is not going to get there by the looks of things. Not saying it won't. It's possibly something that, if we get a run next Friday when we finish, I think it's Friday we finish, although I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be like, yeah, it's Friday, but 1 a.m. Because, the time zone thing has been driving me nuts, and it seems to always be off. Not to mention the fact that we don't go into daylight savings for another week or so, but in the US, you guys have already done that, right? Just use the railgun to launch the drones. Well, I mean, technically, interesting idea. So yeah, we want a base turret here. We want a little structure. So I think we should start very roughly mapping out what we're looking for. So I'm just going to grab the pure basics here, and we're going to isolate, and we're going to start creating some very basic shapes. Since, you know, we've got half an hour left, I need to talk less, if preferable. So if you guys have some more questions, autosave again. And actually, we're just going to close off this secondary Maya now. Let's see. No, we don't need to save that one. Just to make sure we're not going to have a crash. And I'm just going to create a very basic shape, which will just be a flat plane that we can use to extrude from. So if I divide this up into, let's see, these quadrants. That'll do for now. Really what I'm looking for is, I think, just these sides to start. And when you're doing things at this level, a good idea is to just make your grid pretty small. I think I made it down to 4. Yeah, I made it down to 4. I'll keep that close by. Daylight savings time in the US and Canada. Oh, isn't that just the US? No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry, guys. Like, that's not gonna happen. I remember someone was telling me, actually I think it was Dalton was saying, like, do you know why Canadians are so polite? And the answer is because you don't know how many guns they've got at home. And the winters are very long. They won't find the body until the following winter. Summer. Let's see. So I'm just going to, actually, instead of copying this, what I'm going to do is go and create a duplicate special, sometimes called an instance. And this is an identical copy, only it is slaved to the original object. So as we modify this thing, it is going to update both. So for example, we can delete these faces. And it's not quite obvious yet that they've been deleted, but let's say, for example, I want to make this more of a frame. So I grab all of these faces, and I am just going to, let's see, I'm going to offset this by 2 millimeters. And you can see that it's also selecting the faces on this side. Now, I don't think that's going to be enough at this point in time, so I'm going to reverse that. I'm thinking we want this to be a series of sort of triangular sections, like almost a truss type configuration. Let's see, there we go. Canada more like Can Exeter. Oh god. It's kind of the plotline of Fargo. Oh, the be polite to your neighbours theme, right. I mean, it's a general good rule. Keep the violence to the hockey match. Alright, so I think this will create more of an interesting support system. And when I am doing my extrusions, I'm making sure I'm turning off keep faces together. And that will make sure that when we make these offsets of 2 millimeters, it actually comes in on each of these triangles. And then, in addition to that, we can now start going like, let's see, try -0.3 and see how it looks. I think we want actually something larger, so let's just go with a whole millimeter and see That seems to have gone out rather than in. What?
No, nothing.
Are you having a dirty mind or something?
No. I'm clean as a whistle.
I don't know about that, Albin. So, these are probably too large. Albin! Get your mind out of the gutter. You're just going to bridge these closed again. Do I have to send you away early?
Oh no! An early weekend.
Oh, damn it. I have no leverage. And that's the other issue when you're a salaryman.
Mm-hmm.
You probably got the overtime anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just looking for like a structure here that looks like it could, take the beefy support you would need to have this in place. It does kind of break with the aesthetics a little bit. But I'm wondering like how we could maybe combine this in some ways with I'm just trying to visualize in my head how we're going to tackle the turret itself so it looks good. Out rather than in. Oh, wow. So, let's grab this just to have... do we have a better example? I don't think so. This is very... Oops. What I really wanted to get here was this turret ring, but this really feels like a very, very old style one, so I'm wondering if maybe it would be better to grab it off one of the more modern turrets. So why don't we open up... Technically I should really be building this inside of our weapon systems. So I'll try opening up Maya again in a second copy. You think the bottom would look better as a steeper slope in the 1 to 2 being flush with the turret face, but that's a lot more work. How do you mean? To sort of create more of a wedge, like so that the trussing is more like half as much. It's based on magnets. Everyone knows that magnets are awesome. I think too, maybe there is something to be said for trying to create these frames so that it's compatible with this housing. So that we don't need to change that housing. I kind of like that idea. So that we could have like a part coming out here that sort of just creates, I don't know, a bit of, maybe we could have a little bit of shielding, like tiling or something like that, just around the base. It would also let you technically expand out from the ship, maybe. Then again, I'm not looking to create a room inside of this thing. The topic is a certain push and pull, God. But then it's not really a railgun. Let's see. Sorry. Really struggling today, guys. I think the other thing too is to make these look a bit more sci-fi. I think the shape could kind of be modified a little bit. But I'll do that at a later point. Jeez. Like I said, really struggling today. So let's focus on the turret itself, and I was opening up a second copy of Maya here. Let's go to our resources project and open up our turrets and turret port compatible. More of a waveguide anyway. It's Friday. My IQ is currently at room temperature.
Uh,
Is that
Celsius or...
Celsius or Fahrenheit? Because there's quite a bit of a difference. I feel like mine is in Celsius at the moment, so it's at 20. Maybe it's 20 degrees in here. Let's see. We don't need the framing here. We got all our turrets from a bunch of different projects, all in the one place. So surely we have some more modern turrets that we can steal from. These are a good bet. They're fairly recent, but they do have integrated bases. I know that this newer stuff in particular is kind of better. So why don't we actually pull in this model? Because I don't think either, aside from the gun, I'm going to delete the gun and housing and just take the base here. And make sure it's not in anything else, and it should just have standard surface 1 on it. And this is a fairly clean way that we can import in a base without it disturbing too much of this scene. And I'm just going to close this scene off again without saving, because we just deleted the turret. Tamsin, but my comment was repulsive. Oh God, guys.
Something tells me it's not about...
The soundtrack of this this channel and its live streaming is just the groaning of wives as their husbands, or partners, I should probably say, keep telling dad jokes. So there we go with our turret. Again, I think this is just an emplacement. It can only rotate from one side to the other. We need to have some thrusters on the back. So maybe we'll be getting the RCS open. Maybe we'll be getting the RCS open. No, my brain is like, we need thrusters. Let's look at the RCS pack again and maybe steal some of those. God, you really have to steel yourself sometimes. Far out, guys. These jokes, they're terrible. You're not making me really want to go over today. Let's see. Oh, I've still got to do the cleaning as well.
Oh.
Ba-bow. It's quick-ish.
In worst case scenario, that sounds like a Monday problem? Question mark?
Oh, possibly. Possibly. It all depends. Oh yeah, here's our cargo. I put them into this scene. This took half a day to get just the basic rigging done.
Rigging.
Yeah, it's not real rigging, Albin. Just that part. No, why is it doing the whole thing? I must have combined it. Oh wow, it looks horrible. So it still needs some fine tuning, but just getting that thing to actually go over the cargo was fun. It involves using something we call N-cloth. And I can say AI is great for trying to remember how to do things, because you can just say, hey, what are the steps? And it doesn't get you all the way there, but it can point you in the right direction. So I kind of like these in particular. They're going to print flat. I haven't test printed this yet, but I want to. Actually, that would have been a good thing to do. So it just connects into the wall and creates like a partition with cargo netting on it. And it's nice and simple. Hopefully there will be some natural droopage here. The bridging is actually to our advantage. So net positive. Fuck.
Net positive. God damn it. Oh my god.
My throat's too dry to actually laugh very hard. Oh man. Oh boy. Oh god. And it keeps selecting the lighting, which is rather annoying. Let's turn the grid off as well. What I was thinking is we could steal some of the thrusters here, maybe. Although thinking about it, I think we've still got this already hidden in the scene. So I'm just going to place them out, and you want a fairly large thruster out the back here, although it might look cool to have some in multi-directions. And we'll have to split up the model a little bit. I think that's acceptable in this case. We'd probably want like the base as one part, which connects to the main weapon, and then a front and a back because of the orientation. You want to kind of print these in. But we're not quite there yet. Ooh, our little drone level is intersecting quite well. Let's turn that off again. Right, so if we look at... Sorry?
I just saw the Railgun.
Okay. So yeah, I must have deleted it. Oh no. Wait, no, it's in a different layout. What is it? SG. There we go. Here's the bulk of them, and I'm thinking maybe it deserves one of these large sort of bell RCSs. And actually, we maybe could get away with using one of them or two. So let's just take one or two to test out. Duplicate those. You can actually move them down a little bit to the back of the turret. And maybe we want to add an additional thruster to it. So it looks like the smaller one might be a little too small. Or what if we did kind of like this? We'll see. What if we did something crazy and just got one of these bell ends? Alright, 45 degrees to do it. We freeze the transformations there and bring that to the center. So you have this combination of smaller thrusters and one large thruster at the back to help sort of like create a little bit of counterbalance. You want that to be aligned right with where the barrel is, which it looks like it's fairly close. Let's just combine these for now. I'm going to take out this semiotic and leave that blank. Delete that one. And then that'll just connect to the back of the turret. Something like that. And then if we look at it from the top, that's actually bang on in the middle of where the two barrels meet. So that should be a good like counter thrust. I think the other thing to change about this, to make it a bit more interesting, and to not interfere with the hull, like this thruster is going to point down to the hull at the moment. So the ideal thing would be to have it rotated 45 degrees. Like so. And then the thrust from each of these isn't actually going to intersect with the ships. It should be firing past the hull. Just. But still, you get the idea. Maybe not in every single position, but this is sort of like, we're only going for close enough. Well, hopefully the new crate works too when it's released. Your sci-fi cargo crates was one of the first things I got.
Oh, speaking of sci-fi cargo crates.
Yeah. You want to show?
So I'm looking at some Photoshop at the moment. I sent on Discord the renders.
Yes, you did. That looks pretty decent. So let's look at this unassuming piece of cargo in the browser. Please. Why aren't you working?
Oh yeah.
The image is so large I can't view it.
Oh no, what?
No, I'm just I'm blanking on where view in browser is.
Open link maybe? Farthest down? If you right click.
Open link. Yeah, there we go. Alrighty. So we have the base version, which looks unassuming, aside from the fact that it's much larger than standard cargo. It is a compromise that we had to make. So it's, what is it, 3 times 3?
Yeah, 3.5 by 2, 3.5 squared times 8.
So completely non-standard. And then as it gets a bit closer, that's when things start to happen and you get the phase 2.
Oui.
It's like
That's a trick.
where this nasty business comes and opens up a hole in the hole that you've lampreed to. And then we have a cutaway just to give an impression of what the interior is like. Oddly, yeah, okay, I was going to say. So, just a sketch, this isn't fully finished, and actually I think Albin's done more than he really needs to do in a ship like this, but it does give you an impression of what the shape looks like in general. I think it's a cool little addition, and we should have that ready to go for the end. It looks like it's cargoing somewhere. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but
like going, but car going,
oh my god,
I guess. But sure.
my head. Guys. Well, like and subscribe. Anyway, we have the rough outline and shape now. We just need to kind of integrate them into each other. That's going to take a considerable amount more time. We've only got a few minutes. So I think I'll just ditch this sort of rim around the edge. Just waiting for snide remarks on that one. To sort of like imagine what this looks like without the hole. So I would say we want to isolate these things again. And hopefully if I turn off that stretch goal, yep, that remains. There we go. We've got the rough outline of it. I'm kind of like, I'm actually kind of liking this, funnily enough.
There was a joke here that I don't quite understand.
It's probably for the best, Albin.
Yes, but I'm still curious. Unfortunately, getting it on your ship is a breech berth. I don't understand.
Well, there's such a thing as a breached berth, I think, but... And a berth is where you would dock.
I thought of berths as like suites or rooms.
No. That's like your ship is in berth 4.
Oh.
Is docked with berth 4 or something like that. Like you.
Like a bay or something.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh.
Let's see. A berth is when you undock. Oh my god, the stream has so far been quite on rails. We're never going to grow this audience.
The audience is never going to grow up.
Oh my god, I don't want you to comment on anything more about that, thanks. Let's see. So I just wanted to get this sort of boxed out. get an impression of where all the parts could be. We can actually ditch these all together. Yeah, we're well on our way, I think. So, really, maybe this would look more... I'm just going to duplicate this, because I'm thinking it was designed to look attached to the hull. There's a lot going on that you can't see behind it. What would happen if we draw a line through here? A line through there, and a line through there. Connect the dots. Delete the unnecessary. And see what result we get. So, don't need that, don't need that. This line we want aligned with the middle there. Oopsie. Let's move that there. Expand that back there. And then I'm going to delete. Deleted. And I'm hoping this matches. It looks like it does. So we could get a better idea about where we want the body of the gun to be as its own sort of thing, rather than... Yeah, obviously it's not going to be completely symmetrical. But, What are you giggling about now?
Nothing. Oh man. The pollen. It's so rough.
I set the mood when I showed my penis on screen. Thank you. That was like 2 years ago now. No. This audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bunch of juveniles. And I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is fun. Alrighty, let's merge these. And we're at 403, so we're not going to actually obviously get this done today, but we should have a better impression of what the general shape's going to be. Maybe we integrate this a little bit more, something like that. The center of mass, obviously we haven't detailed where the ammunition actually is added or anything like that. I assume it comes up through here, through some sort of feeding system that's going to be unseen. But what we do want is to figure out exactly where the right balance of this turret is going to be. And just weight-wise, let's see, if it's firing from here, thrusters from there. Yeah, I don't know. It just, that's probably alright. But I think we might want to bring it down like a smidgen. Like to here, maybe. Just so that we can kind of get the middle of it a little bit more balanced with the rest of the turret. Probably weight-wise, it was already fairly close to where it needed to be, but we can refine that some more. It's going to take me a little bit of time. Not sure yet if we're going to integrate this to the base. Actually, I think that's probably a better idea than having it clip in. Well, no. I need to think about orientation. So if we made it so that this part of the turret actually prints, like rotated 180 degrees from this angle, that should work. But I think it gives a better impression of what we're looking for. This has probably got another 2 hours to concept on it, so it's not something we're going to get done today. Put some of the lasers from the core off the sides as magnetic boosters. Oh, like, let's see. Maybe we can find this real quick. I was about to quit, now you're like, hey, what about this idea? So if I copy this thing, get it outside of the rest of it. Oops, what happened there? Is it still a part of a larger group or something? Why won't you work? It keeps giving me a transform. Why is it doing that? Very annoying. In any case, maybe the best way to get sneaky with this is actually to combine it with another object. So if I duplicate that, turn it over, and we just combine these. Delete history, and that should hopefully have just turned it into its own thing. You wanted them like on the side or something. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting idea. But actually, now that you mention it, I think maybe you meant more like we have this separate. We center the pivot, get that to match up here somewhere. And you could like have these sticking out or at an angle or something. It could be an interesting idea. Yes, like that. Yes, like that, or more like yes, like these. Like up and down. Could almost have like some kind of configuration like this. Angle looks better. So yeah, that is an interesting idea, and I think it could be worth pursuing. It would require a little bit more fiddling about, but obviously we're not done fiddling about yet. But I do kind of like the look of that. Even like maybe we even angle it up a little bit more like that as well. Could potentially add it several of these, like almost hedgehog-like. Kind of makes sense, and it would be like charging batteries or something like that. I kind of like that idea. So I'm going to explore it after I've done some cleaning / had a sleep. And we'll be back at it next Friday. Either the campaign will be ending or has ended. I need to double check on that one, but either way we'll be streaming on Friday afternoon. That is the plan, in some way, shape or form. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and if you haven't already, please do share our 5th Frontier War campaign. There's a lot more coming very soon. We're about to hit 2 more stretch goals, and yeah, you guys are awesome. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.